This is an overview of my 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Includes a hidden Runva winch and Mopar front recovery hooks, which is on an Australian build Grand Cherokee. As you can see, this was made possible with the Rocky Road Outfitters hidden winch bar. Behind the grille here you can see the solenoid for the winch. It's not accessible, but I have a wireless controller that I use. There's the 9,500 pound winch, and here's the other side. Sorry for all of the bug splatters. It's just been on a trip from Melbourne to Sydney. Here's the radar unit, which is removable. You can see I've got some spaces there to keep the radar unit at the right height, and I can easily remove those with some wing nuts. Yeah, the whole unit can come out in about 1 minute. I unplug it, take the wing nuts off, and pull the whole unit off if I'm going full driving. This is a replacement front skid plate. The standard item is easily damaged, so this is just a piece of steel bent into place. I created this when before there were any other off-the-shelf products that were available. Seems to do the job. And this front bar as well. The pre-runner is another custom-made item that I just bent out of some steel. There's also a little guard around the compressor, which seemed to be a little bit exposed, so I just bent some steel around the compressor and it seems to protect it. Here's the front suspension setup. It's a quadralift with rough country leveling spaces. I think these are supposed to be about 2 inches on the front, 2-inch spaces on the front, and these are on top of the quadralift struts. The only problem is this clearance here. I don't think I would be able to fit 2.5-inch spaces because this the plastic molding there is really close to the strut. It actually touches on full droop. There's a cable tie, which is just cable tying the liner out of the way. You can see a few little rub marks. I've also done the pinch weld modification at the back, which is just bashing down the pinch weld and cable tying the liner into place. So I use 33-inch tires, not the ones that are currently on it. I have 33-inch tires which are on the 18-inch rims and on the factory 18-inch wheels, and those rub marks are all that I get from them. There's a few little points where the body has made contact with the ground. The rear suspension has a few rub marks. Now these were caused when I had 33-inch tires on with no suspension modifications at all on the rear. So there's a few places where it just touched. These don't happen anymore because I now have off-road animal spaces at the rear on top of the shock absorbers, so the compression won't with the 33-inch tires, the compression won't rub the liner anymore. But as well as same as on the front, I'm still using the factory links, and the height is modified through the software using the AlfaOBD application. On the rear I've got my Gobi ladder, really good piece of kit, and the Gobi roof rack, probably one of my favourite modifications of the vehicle, as well as the axe and shovel mount from Gobi, and another bug splattered wing deflector. On the rear here there's a larger hole that's worn through the liner. It doesn't touch here anymore due to the spaces at the rear. And this is, you can't really see it, but this is where the off-road animal shock spaces are. On the front, on the left-hand side of the vehicle, on the rear, this rear tire, it did rub the liner away where the fuel filler pipe hose is, and it doesn't touch there anymore, but that was a little bit of a concern. I've since moved the pipe slightly, and yeah, there's no contact there anymore. The spacers are mainly so that if there's ever an air suspension problem and it's sitting on the bump stops, that even with the 33-inch tires it can still be moved without sitting on the body. Here's another, the pinch weld mod on the other side, liner cable tied in, factory link rods for the suspension. Again, that's the rough country leveling spacer on top of the air strut. One time I didn't attach the liner back, and it rubbed on the tire and exposing my water reservoir. So that's where that is from. Here's a switch for the winch. It's just tied into the positive and negative battery terminals. Seems to work fine here. It's been used quite a lot. Here's the top of the air struts, so any larger spaces, and there might be problems with getting the with the airlines fouling, but these rough country spaces seem to be the perfect height. And the spacer on the other side, as you can see, it just clears. Inside you can see that's where the top of the strut is bolted to. This is the winch. There's the clutch mechanism. Decent amount of clearance to the intercooler. I only had to move one of those steel arms there in order to fit the winch. It was just too close to the one of the power terminals for my liking, so that was moved slightly. As you can see here, I can actually reach underneath the plastic and get to the clutch lever. Well, can't really see it, but you can get to the clutch lever. Just bent a piece of steel for the CB antenna. Cable just runs through here up to the firewall, and then through the firewall on the left hand side of the vehicle. And then straight to my 80 channel UHF radio, which I've got mounted in the center console. So a little bit difficult to see what's on the screen, but once it's set to a channel, it's really convenient to have here. I can adjust the volume easily. Keeps it nice and tidy. There is no, the microphone just fits back into the center console and closes up and hidden away. I've got a red arc tow controller. It's inside there next to the transmission lever, the actual main module, and the switch is located here under the light switch. So easy to get to, easy to adjust. Works just fine here. I've seen a few different places where people have put them, but it does fit inside here next to the transmission and the cup holders. Last thing I'll show is the wiring for the setup. So I've also got a relay which is located next to the battery unit here, and a resettable fuse. So, and that runs power to the back. I've got a 12-pin connection at the back, and that will run powered 12-volt power to the rear trailer plug.